I think it's much easier to call me Jeff than Jean-Eric, Vergne, and starting when I was doing go-karting and already at 8, people gave me this name, and it followed me all along my career. And it's just the J for Jean, E for Eric, and V for Vergne, and that makes Jeff, and it's much easier, so everybody calls me like this.
Okay, so we'll start with a few questions, counting down to Melbourne, your first Grand Prix. Are you actually counting down the days already?
I'm more counting down the day for the first testing in Jerez, which that comes first, and it's quite an important test just to get ready for the first Grand Prix. But yeah, of course, I'm looking forward for this Grand Prix.
Has it sunk in already? Have you realized, hey, I'm a Formula One driver now?
It's been pretty amazing for the first 2 days when I get the call, but in the end, you just walk normally, and you forget a little bit what's everything around Formula One, the Formula One world, and just focus on yourself and on the work you have to do. So in the end, yeah, only work matters, and results at the end of the weekend. So in the end, when you really focus on this, you forget everything else. But it looks nice. Then for me, a nice car is a fast car, so let's wait until the first Grand Prix to see how beautiful is the car.
How do you get used to a new car? It's not the first time in your career you're getting used to a new car. How long does it usually take you to know all the buttons and the behavior of the car until you, so to speak, grow together?
Well, I've been driving in the Red Bull simulator for a long time, already the past 3 years. So all the buttons and the steering wheel, I'm already used to it. So the DRS, curves, all these things. I know how it works. Then usually it's going to be my first year in F1, but I've already driven in those cars. Just yeah, a few new rules comes this year with the exhaust blowing ban. So it would be less downforce, but I'm coming from categories with less downforce anyway. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but shouldn't be a problem to adapt.
You have driven Formula One cars already in the young driver days and the Friday tests. Somebody who has never driven a Formula One car, can you put that into a few words, what it feels like, what the sensations are?
Well, I remember my first day in Formula One, which was in Abu Dhabi in 2010 with Toro Rosso, and that was an amazing day, the first one. And the first day, the first session, you go out of the pit and just press full throttle. You're like, wow, it's crazy quick, and in the end, you get a little bit used to the speed. Then there comes the grip, the downforce, amazing. When you go through a fast corner flat, you say, wow, so much grip. There is no way you could expect this from a car. And then in the end of the day, what tends to be the most impressive is braking. So actually the Formula One car is downforce, speed, braking, grip, a little bit of this, much better than any other car. So everything feels impressive.
An impressive pressure as well, I guess, because you've reached the pinnacle of motorsports. How do you cope with that type of pressure from all sorts of angles?
I don't have that much pressure on this side. Formula One, of course, is a big aim, but that's not the aim of my career anyway. So it's the first good step, but now I have to work, I think, twice harder than what I've done so far to succeed in this world.
So what is your aim then?
My aim will be definitely to be world champion, but this might take a few years. So now I'm, getting step by step. First of all, I'm this year with Toro Rosso, and we'll try to do the best job as possible and learn as quick as possible as well. Because I'm quite realistic on this Formula One world, and there is plenty of things to learn. And I'm conscious about this, and I will work on this.
I heard you saying podiums would be nice in your maiden season. How realistic is that?
I don't really know. I think we have to wait first of all how the car is, and then we never know what can happen in the race. Everything can happen. This car, Toro Rosso team had already one win with Sebastian Vettel in Monza, so that shows that everything is possible. So maybe not a podium would be good.
I know you've answered this question before, but how did you learn about your contract for this year and what happened afterwards with, say, your mobile phone and people ringing you? How was that?
Yeah, I get the phone call in the morning. I think it was on the 14th of December, and it has been announced in the afternoon. And then I had maybe 10-15 minutes to call my parents, and then afterward my phone was ringing all the time. I couldn't make one phone call, so just put it on the side, and I had to do a few interviews with French TV, with TF1, and then I directly went to the factory in Milton Keynes to be in the simulator. So I was quite high in the sky for one moment, and then I get down to us working at the simulator.
Okay, Toro Rosso obviously is some kind of academy in Formula One. That's the idea behind this. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I mean, Red Bull has a full academy to get to the top of Formula One with Red Bull Racing. I think I've been part of the Red Bull Junior team for the past 4 years. And now I'm with Toro Rosso in Formula One, and there is again one step, which is Red Bull Racing, the world champion team in Formula One. So yeah, I guess there is a way up until the really top of F1, and now I would say I'm in the midway with Toro Rosso, but I'm already really happy to be here, and I think that's a fantastic opportunity that I've got right now.
You were chosen for your qualities. What do you think those qualities are?
I don't know. I think to be a Formula One driver, you need a few qualities, but I've probably shown myself on the past categories in Formula 1, Formula 3, and Formula 1 3.5. I won a few championships, few races as well, and I think I probably have shown enough to Red Bull by these championships, and as well all the testing I've done in the simulator and the testing I've done with Toro Rosso and Red Bull Racing on the track. So I think they have their reason, and I will show them they were right.
Well, maybe I'll ask the question differently. People say you're going to bring fighting spirit and an aggressive style into Formula One. Is this how you see yourself as well as a racing driver?
Yeah, definitely. I think I can be quite aggressive, but always quite safe. I mean, I always finish the race, and when I used to go for a pass, I generally actually, I mean, I could already, I could pass the people when I wanted. But no, Formula One might be different, so I don't know. But I definitely have quite an aggressive driving style, and especially through the field. We'll see how it goes.
Okay, all right. Do you ever feel like, wow, I'm going to race against some of my idols, some of the people I've watched for years and years?
Yeah, I've been thinking a little bit about this. It's quite crazy when you think I will race with Alonso or Schumacher. I was watching them when I was a child, and with my parents in the home watching the Grand Prix. And now actually I will take the start with them, so it feels amazing. But I guess once you end on the pre-grid and on the starting grid for the start of the Grand Prix, I think you forget all of this, and everybody's just a normal driver that you want to beat.
And you'll be quite famous worldwide. How much do you think can you reserve for yourself, for your private life? Because in the modern world of Twitter and the internet platforms and Facebook, everybody knows anything about Formula One drivers. Is that a worry sometimes, that you're going to be a public figure from now on?
Not really. I think you always have to be careful with what you're saying, what you're doing, and that's part of the job as well, so I don't mind.
You're put up against Daniel Ricciardo in Toro Rosso. There is a theory one of you will be racing in Red Bull Racing someday soon, maybe, you never know. Give me one reason why you're going to be the one, why you're going to come up as a winner.
Well, first of all, as you said, that's a theory. And to be honest, I'm not thinking about 2013. This year I'm with Toro Rosso, and I will do the best job as possible, trying to score as many points as possible, and then we'll see for the future.
All right. This year we're going to have 3 French drivers in Formula One, which is unique. I think it's been about
10 years.
Yeah,
a lot.
So many French drivers. What's going on in France all of a sudden?
I think France has a good generation of new drivers, with really talented drivers. I'm thinking about Romain Grosjean, Charles Pic, as well as Jules Bianchi, which is not in F1 yet, but he's been announced reserve driver for Force India, and I'm sure he will join us soon. So yeah, I think with the FFSI, they put something in place with an academy for young drivers, a little bit like Red Bull, and they supported me until Formula One. They took me out from karting to go to single seater, and I think this academy is working quite well, and it's as well quite new. None of the federation are doing this actually, so I think that's a start, and I'm sure it will continue this way.
A lot of young kids will look up to you, karting kids, and say, wow, I want to be like him one day. In your own words, what does it take to make it into Formula One and maybe to become a world champion one day?
Definitely a lot of involvement. First of all, racing must be your passion. Otherwise, you don't have your place in this world. But then a lot of work and a lot of sacrifice. But in the end, all the sacrifice, if it's something you do for something you like, and then you don't really care about the sacrifice you do, so it doesn't really matter. So, no, a lot of work, of course, some talent, and a lot of pressure.
How important is physical fitness, and what do you do about it?
Well, I'm doing a lot right now. I think it's really important to be fit in the car. It's not really about doing one good lap, but it's more, through the Grand Prix, everybody can be fit for 5-10 laps, but then what matters is how long you can be fit in the car, because then when you start to be a little bit weak, you start to lose your concentration, you start to lose a couple of tenths in this corner and here in this lap, and then it's getting worse and worse, and by the end of the Grand Prix, maybe you don't finish it, maybe you crash in the wall, or you just don't finish it, and in the end, it's in the end of the Grand Prix where you can make the difference sometimes, compared to the other drivers. So I think that's really important. Well, the plan for testing will be to discover this new car, to make it reliable, and we'll try to get the best out of the car over this 3 tests we're going to have in Jerez, Barcelona, to have the best cars possible in Melbourne and Kuala Lumpur.